All right, next case. Jennifer Coffindaffer. You flagged this. So my understanding is that the woman, the female attorney representing the accused in the Idaho murder case, also represented the mother of one of the victims?
That's exactly right. The mother of Xana Kernodle on drug charges, clear back in November, and actually on 4 total cases over quite a span of time. So here is somebody that is representing the mother of one of the deceased victims, and yet also represented from about up until the 5th of January, when she finally put in notice of this conflict and conflicted herself out, withdrawing from the case, and the case was then assigned to another attorney. This is something, Chris, in 28 years of federal law enforcement, I've never seen. When a public defender has a conflict, they do not accept the next case that is the conflicted case. You would never get rid of the defendant that you had been representing for a great period of time on 4 different cases to take over another case. Death penalty aside, because there were other attorneys that were able to represent Bryan.
Counselor Darden, do you take this case if you're the counselor involved?
You mean, do I take this case if I'm private counsel? I don't take this case if I'm the deputy public defender. I don't take it, no. I think there's a conflict. It's clear. She should not have been on the case in the first place.
How'd she get this far, you think?
Perhaps it's an oversight. You know, public defenders in this country are overworked and overwhelmed. She may not have realized that there was a conflict at first.
And then when she did, she withdrew from the other cases, not this one. Is that the right move, or should she have stuck, as Jennifer is suggesting, with the cases she's been on the longest and not the new one that she's barely into?
It's the new one where there's a conflict, and it's the new one that she should have conflicted off. She should not be representing him. She should continue to represent the mother that she has represented, or her office has represented on 3 or 4 occasions prior. It makes no sense to conflict on those and keep this case.
Well, it makes plenty of sense in terms of profile and the amount of attention and the stakes. We hope that's not what the decision was about. But Counselor Geragos, how does this play in to defense strategy? Is this just a procedural hiccup and now he has to get a new lawyer and it's just a delay? What does it mean? What's the net effect?
Well, I think what will happen is, my guess is what will happen is that there'll be a hearing, and the hearing will be whether or not first of all, you're going to have a knowing waiver by both the mother, who was represented, and by the current client, Bryan. If there is not a knowing waiver, if both of them do not waive the conflict, because presumably the mother is going to be called as a witness. In her defense, and I don't know, this issue was raised today, at least, or I was told about it today, but obviously she knew about it weeks ago. If she got a waiver already from the mother, if the mother said, that's fine, I understand, you got to do what you got to do because there's limited number of lawyers in Idaho who have death penalty experience, then I suppose that they've already submitted a waiver or they've got it. If they don't have a waiver, the judge and or the prosecutor is going to, I think in an abundance of caution, are going to say, we need a hearing on this, because, boy, if there is a conviction, the first thing that's going to happen is there's going to be a 2255 for IAC, ineffective assistance of counsel, and this is going to be one of the many instances of ineffective assistance, that there was a conflict that, by the way, I can also predict what they will say if there's a conviction. They're going to say, well, you represented her on a drug case. There's been rumors on the internet about this house being connected, where the murder scene was, connected to drugs and raging parties. You didn't go down that road because you were conflicted because of your previous representation, blah, blah, blah. You didn't do a cross-examination, and that's the nub of the conflict.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, And you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.